Good morning, Wendy.
Good morning, Mike.
Now, Wendy, you're our African expert.
I
and
am.
I have to admit, I look at Africa, it's a big place. Where do we start?
Okay. So, based on my experiences over the past 40 years, and particularly in the last 2 years when I was living in Zambia and working in a bush camp, as you can see, it is a huge continent. It is about 30 million square kilometres, and we're compared to our little old Australia down here, that is only 7 million. So it's extremely diverse in wildlife, in your experiences that you can have. The weather is very governed as well. So really, I have a bit of a wish list. Most people have a perception of what it would be like. Maybe they've watched a David Attenborough movie, some docos, they've read a book, or they just have a love and want to see an elephant. So I start with a few basic questions of what's your wish list?
Okay, time of year, as you said, it's a big place,
Very.
lots of different climates. Is there a particular time of year that you'd recommend?
Yes. So if animals is really the experience that you're after, which is generally, Africa and our wildlife is stunning and it is truly magical. The best time to go is when it's more in our winter. So they're winters, and that's the reason is the grasses have died down. So the visibility of finding the wildlife, but also they're a lot thirstier. So they come to the watering holes, and the skilled guides know where the watering holes are, and they know where the animals are going to be. So visibility. If you're a bird lover though, it is the exception, and it's a bit similar to compared to Darwin weather with the monsoonal periods. The birds do migrate down from up north, and they come down, and you get some stunning birds. But it is a hotter and starting to get a bit wet.
Okay. Now, there's lots of misconceptions about Africa.
Yes.
Let's just try and address a few of them. First of all, injections. I hate vaccinations.
Men do have a fear. Look, it's a generalisation, and we need to look at specifically where you'd be thinking of going. But generally speaking, typhoid is a very good recommendation. If you'd like to get your Hep A and Hep B done, it's a series of injections and then they last for life and so on. That's the other. But then Malarone, which is your anti-malaria protection, is essential for Australians. So,
Okay.
And Australians.
What about Wi-Fi?
Yes.
I'm going to get away from it all, but
Yeah.
occasionally I want to get on the Wi-Fi.
Correct. So between teenage kids parents think, oh no, the kids will go crazy, they've got to be on Facebook, etc., right through to your self-employed, and then just you've got elderly parents back home, you need to keep in contact. There is a huge amount of Wi-Fi across the camps now, and that's due to those demands.
Okay. I also worry that when I go to a resort that I'm trapped there and I'll get ripped off on the food and beverage.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about that?
So it is one of the biggest bonuses of travelling to Africa. On a package, all the camps, they are all inclusive. So when we do a quote for you, it's always a bit scarier than when you would say you're heading off to Europe or you're heading off to an LA holiday with your family or a ski trip. But everything is fully inclusive. So that means your transfers from the airport, all your meals, your accommodation, your 2 safari activities a day, which is your morning drive and afternoon drive. And then really the only thing you've got to do is tipping, which is we give you tips on tipping, and that's to the guide and to the spotters at night, and then some gratuities generally, and then maybe some alcohol would be an extra. But generally that's all inclusive up front, and for the men they'll love it. There's very little shopping for the ladies.
Okay. Sounds
bit
great.
of market shopping and.
Now, you've just come back from 2 years
Yes.
in Zambia.
Yes.
What was your background prior to
Yes.
going to Africa?
So my background is I owned a travel agency in Mossman in Sydney for just on 20 years.
Very famous
But it
one,
was-
actually.
Yes, it's quite a good one. And I was in the building, beautiful Mossman, for 30 years. So it came to a point that Sydney and that Spit Bridge traffic and all of that, it was time to get some freedom. And people who own their own business, you never really have a day off. So I sold the business up, and my husband and I upskilled and did some courses on game lodge management. We did some first aid training, and we applied for a job to be camp managers, guest relations, in a safari camp in the heart of the South Luangwa National Park in Zambia. So about here.
How was it?
It's far exceeded our expectations. Highlights: hosting 38 guests a night from all over the world. Never any day was the same as the day before. We were in a very remote, wild bush camp area. The elephants would walk through the camp every day. You go to sleep with the hippos. But 80 staff, and I immersed myself very much in with the NGOs and taking guests into town, and really the highlight of guests at the end of their stay. And these are people that have travelled the world and Africa numerous times, would say the village experiences and contributing, knowing you're contributing to the protection of endangered wildlife was truly a highlight for a lot of people. So, yeah.
Now you're back on the Gold Coast.
Back on the Gold
And
Coast.
what are you doing?
Yes. So, due to my love and passion of Africa, but also I love to contribute back to these people that I have met now. I've developed suppliers, relationships all over Africa now over many years, and I'm now specialising in Africa travel for holidays, right through from multi-generation, be it corporate, small groups, and then just couples, singles, solos, and I'm through the beautiful Main Beach travel. So
What more can we say? I have to say, when I finally plan my trip to Africa, very high on my bucket list, I'll be talking to this lady first to pick her brains. Thanks, Wendy.
all
Good
right,
talking to you.
thank you.